such challenging times for all of us, and for all sorts of different reasons. There are people who are having to go out into the world every day, including all the medical professionals who are on the front lines and who are putting themselves at risk to help people every day. There's all of us who are stuck at home with kids, which is wonderful and also really challenging. And also those of us who are stuck separated from friends, family, sometimes kids. And for those of us with anxiety and depression, this can be a really, really challenging thing, to kind of have to sit with ourselves and have not a lot of filter, just here with ourselves. This is a song I wrote about coming to terms with parts of ourselves that maybe we've lost touch with. It's inspired specifically by an experience of finding an old box of mementos from when I was much younger and had a very different perspective on certain parts of the world. The song is from the perspective of a younger version of myself. See how we can come together. I've been waiting here in boxes, this cardboard reverie, handwritten notes and yearbook quotes on who you used to be, and all these faded photographs and hopeful memories, wondering when you'd rediscover me. I know I seem naive now, I could never understand your world of mortgage payments, divorce papers, broken plans. But I hope you won't dismiss me, my heart can help you stand. There's so much power in this outstretched hand. We are stronger together. Put your faith in your heart. Can't go wrong choosing kindness, 'cause we're stronger here together than apart. Yes, we're stronger here together than apart. I can see the world you're in still has a ways to go. Politicians rage at children, neighbors at each other's throats, and all these huddled masses are the ones who tell them no. There's so much fear, they all need us to show that we are stronger together. Put your faith in your heart. Can't go wrong choosing kindness, 'cause we're stronger here together than apart. Yes, we're stronger here together than apart. Part of us is a stranger, part of us lives in pain, part of us seethes with anger, part of us is still enslaved, part of us is addicted, part of us is lost the way. Can we find the strength to see those parts and say, we are stronger together. Put your faith in your heart. Can't go wrong choosing kindness, 'cause we're stronger here together than apart. 'Cause we're stronger here together than apart. So, this is the part of the song where I usually invite people to sing along with me, and this is a little unusual because I can't hear any of you and none of you can really hear each other. But I think, unusually, a lot more of us than usual are in a place where we can actually sing out loud in front of our computers and no one else is going to care. So if you'd be willing to try singing along with me, I'll shout out some words and you give it a shot. We will try to come together that way virtually, even though we are separated. If you want to just tap out some lyrics on your keypad there and share those with the group, that's just fine too. Right? The first word is that we are stronger together. We We are stronger. Put your faith in your heart. Put your faith in your... Can't go wrong choosing kindness. Can't go wrong choosing. Cause we're stronger here together than apart. Cause we're stronger here together. Yes, we're stronger here together than apart. Yes, we're stronger here together. We are stronger together. We are stronger. Put your faith in your heart. Put your faith. Can't go wrong choosing kindness. Can't go wrong choosing. But we're stronger here together. Cause we're stronger here together. And yes, we're stronger. Yes, we're stronger here. We are stronger together. We are stronger. Put your faith in your heart. Put your faith. Can't go wrong choosing kindness. Can't go wrong choose. Cause we're stronger here together. We're stronger here together than... Yes, we're stronger. Yes, we're stronger here together than apart. Thank you all very much. The song is Stronger Together. It's one of mine that I wrote, a little one.
So good morning. Thank you to Not for Coltrane, Michael Duck, for that song. And shout out for the flowers from my friends Reverend Mark and Reverend Karen at Unity of Auburn in Auburn, California. So let's take just a moment to breathe into this Sunday morning. As we know together, there is only one presence and one power. So we take a breath, and we open our hearts and minds to that one power and one presence. Great and gracious God, divine creator, we come today in gratitude. Gratitude for all of the blessings that we have enjoyed together. For this beautiful day. For this spiritual community that is made up of our hearts, our minds. It is not the building. It is the people. We are here because we are called by Spirit, called into a spiritual community to remember that we are stronger together. Where two or more are gathered, Spirit is in the midst. And so we simply say, thank you, and so it is. Amen. So, I see lots of friends and folks that are familiar, and just it's going to be an emotional day, so bear with me. The lighting shifted, and so I moved my chair, so it's interesting because the lighting when I do video is not the same as the lighting that shows up on Facebook video. So, we start with our affirmations and our unity movement affirmation. There is only one presence and one power. One activity in my life and in the universe. God, the good omnipotence. And our vision statement. The vision that Unity of Lehigh Valley holds for our world. We co-create an awakened world of peace, harmony, and abundance. We affirm that today. No matter what the appearance, we are about co-creating an awakened world of peace, harmony, and abundance. What is ours to do? United in love, we provide a positive environment for all people to discover and express their spiritual nature. And our positive environment in this moment continues to be online. And that is just exactly what we're going to do. Stay online so long as that remains the positive environment for all of us. Our daily word today is love. What a perfect daily word for this Sunday in our world. Our affirmation is, I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. It has been said that the world needs more love. The truth is that all the love the world could ever need is already present everywhere, because God is love and God is present everywhere. Created in God's image, I am divine love in human expression. I know that love is much more than a positive feeling. Divine love is the energy of oneness itself. As I remain centered in divine love, I know oneness in God with all people, including those who are dear to me and those I've never met. Divine love helps me see good everywhere and in everyone. I look beyond conflict and limitation and find the good that is always mine to discover. And the verse, our scripture is from 1 John chapter 4, verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. So, the title for this final sermon is All is Swell. It comes from the way that my children learned to end the prayer for protection. It's very popular in YOU. Wherever I am, God is, and all is swell. It seemed a fitting title for an ending sermon. And I thought a lot about what to say. The board said, this is all yours. You have one last sermon. And after 11 years, I think I mostly say all the same things. Just trying to find different words. So it occurred to me, maybe I should try to compile those basic things that I think I keep saying. Maybe that's not what I was saying. Maybe that's not what they heard. So here are the seeds I hope that I have planted in your hearts. And in this sermon, there is a detour, which you should really expect from me if you know me, even on this last day. Probably the one thing that I talk about the most, at least in my mind, is the love trinity. It is really the highest priority for Jesus. He says this is the most important commandment when he was speaking to a Jewish audience, used to the 10 rules that Moses got. So when they try to test him and say, which one of those 10 is the most important, he ducks into the love trinity. Love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. No matter what the question, it seems that love is the answer. No matter what the problem is, love is the solution. I have preached this for 11 years in all kinds of different words, and I hope that you heard it. For 35 years, I have studied and attempted to live unity principles. The Fillmores called unity practical Christianity. And practical, I think, means we use it every day. Charles describes love as the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. Without love, everything falls apart. The events of the past couple weeks have snowballed. And I feel compelled to take a detour here in my final sermon to address a practical application of healing love that I feel we have failed to take seriously for centuries. The first thing that happened for me was an article in the Morning Call noting that a small black baby doll hanging in a rope noose was displayed in a local garage service bay on public display. This is the 21st century, and I find this very disturbing. The second thing that happened was a scene that unfolded as I sat in a grocery parking lot. A silver, jacked up pickup truck wheeled into a space facing me, and a very angry white man leaned out the window, shouting and shaking his fist. From behind me, a young black man and woman wearing masks walked by my car. The young man said something to the man in the truck and edged toward the store entrance, wary of turning his back to the truck. I have no idea what happened before they came into my view, but I immediately got out my phone, whether I needed to call for help or film what unfolded. I was frightened for the black couple. The truck sat there for several minutes after the couple got in the store. I watched to see that the truck actually left the parking lot and didn't double back. A few minutes later, the young man came back out, searched for the truck, and went out in the parking lot to check and see if his car was okay. I was disturbed that this young couple did not feel safe in their own neighborhood grocery store. And I was disturbed that I did not feel safe for them. Then I had to watch the video of George Floyd, an unarmed black man pinned at the neck by the knee of a white police officer, pleading for his life until he died. Now there are riots and some reports of white neo-Nazi anarchists initiating fires and looting in what can only be called a war tactic to paint a negative picture of the protesters and elicit condemnation for the protest. They want you to shut down the protests. They do not want justice or change. I find that we must be very discerning right now in evaluating the events unfolding, how they appear, and what else is going on. Whatever is going on, this much is certain. Racism is a disease in this country that is lethal. Hate is contagious. And we have certainly not applied nearly the energy to healing racism that we have applied to healing coronavirus. Practical Christianity demands that we not only be love, but that we be love in action. There will be no justice in this country until there is a systematic dismantling of the racism and racial bias that corrupts our law enforcement and justice systems, corrupts our access to economic and academic success, corrupts our civil rights, and even our churches. I was 8 years old when I discovered racism, and I did not like it. That's 57 years of advocacy as a white ally. I cannot deny my white privilege, and I cannot pretend to truly know the experience of brothers and sisters of color. However, I am fierce in the face of injustice and hatred, and I don't know any other way to be. And I will not apologize, and I will not be silent. I will rock the boat even to the end. Yes, we must advocate for individual justice, but in the end we must dismantle the systematic racism that continues to provide case after case of individual injustice. I believe that every person of every hue in every town should be calling their leaders to demand racial bias training, de-escalation training, and body cameras turned on for every officer given a gun and the job of putting their life on the line to maintain safety and order. It is not a simple job, and I do not condemn the professionals who do their job with honor and dignity, and I know there are so many. I know that love is our spiritual nature, but it is certainly not the conditioning for many of us. We must hold one another accountable. There can be no code of silence in any profession. Not law enforcement, not healthcare, not law. Love is not silent in the face of death. And even as I have planted the seeds of love as the highest priority, I hope I have also planted the seeds of love in action in the face of injustice as part of our role in co-creating an awakened world of peace, of harmony, and abundance. We must become more adept at staying centered in love and yet demanding change. A line in one of Kelly Hunt's new songs last night says, "We must stand when we are called with our bright lights on." I would say that we are called right here, right now. We must stand and we must have our brightest lights on, never wavering in our faith and conviction that we can make a difference. Okay, so I'm going to take a breath and go on to the second seed that I think I've planted. I use metaphysical Bible stories and other illustrations, not just to entertain, but to empower you to discover the divine power within you. Jesus is not the exception, but the way shower to our own power. Whether you call that power the I am, the Christ, my higher self, my true self, or Edith, I pray that by now you are familiar with the concept that you have a divine power within you to tap into. You have divine faculties of wisdom, love, faith, imagination, and, well, you know the 12 aspects of divine power that you can focus on. If you are struggling with tapping into your divine power, I'll move right along to the third point that I tend to say. A lot. The good news is it's all consciousness. The bad news is it's all consciousness. Letting go of limiting thoughts and beliefs is our own work. It can't magically be done for us by someone else. Life is a DIY, do-it-yourself project. The good news is we control our own thoughts and beliefs. We can't control the outer world. pandemics, racism, heat, and humidity. But we have control over the thoughts that we generate in response to every single stimulus our brains receive from our senses. Now, we may not entirely control our reptilian brain, but we can cultivate an awareness of those reptilian brain reactions. And we can take a breath. We can train ourselves to pause until we can consciously choose a thought response from our higher self. Remember when I said that sitting in the parking lot I was frightened for the black couple? When I recognized that reaction, I took a breath and began affirming peace and safety for all parties. I kept my phone out. I remained observing the situation. And I changed my consciousness. As easy as it is to blame all the activity, the actions, the words, even the energies around us for shaping our experience, it is ultimately within our choices that the form of our experience manifests. I'm going to say that one more time. I know I've said it a lot. As easy as it is to blame all the activities, the actions, the words, the energy going on outside around us, it is ultimately within our choices that the form of our experience manifests. I choose peace. I choose love. I choose healing. I choose forgiveness. I choose possibilities. Even now. And that's hard. Personal responsibility and accountability for our consciousness is challenging. So that leads me to point number 4, which you have probably seen all over my office. Pigs fly. Life is messy. Make peace with it. If you have heard any of my When Pigs Fly messages, you may know that a lesson in miracles does not always only contain happy endings. In the story of the healing of the man named Legions, a village's herd of pigs fling themselves into the sea, hence briefly flying. That village casts Jesus out because they are upset about losing all their pigs. And Jesus refuses to let Legion go with him. Now the miracle is that Legion is healed. The demons that have tormented him are cast out. He is at peace. All those other details are the messiness of life. Spirit does not follow my calendar. Clearly, the universe did not cooperate with my plan to retire without drama. And yet, we continue to believe in the unexpected good that we don't understand, which is what I call miracles. And we must learn to make peace with all the messy details that we also did not expect. I mean, look at the new channels of ministry opening up through Facebook, Zoom, and workshops, YouTube. Maybe those new channels didn't unfold in the orderly, timed way we would have liked. So, how do we make peace with the messiness and utilize the miracles in co-creating an awakened world of peace, harmony, and abundance? I'm leaving, but we still have work to do. Making peace with the messiness of life. One last point, which is a seed I hope has taken root in our spiritual community. Life, church, work, it's all our relationship laboratory. We are all in this together. Physical distance, mental and emotional barriers that we construct, masks. None of that changes the reality that we are interdependent. We are all one. And we get to work on our spiritual and emotional skills if we are open and willing. We've talked about being vulnerable and taking risks. We've talked about nonviolent communication and connection practice and lots of tools that we can use in the laboratory. Perhaps the most important thing to remember about this seed is that there is no right way to grow. There is no wrong way to grow. Every way is what it is. It's the laboratory. We are still figuring it out. And here's what I am pretty certain about in the coming weeks and months. You will be sad. You will be angry. You will be confused. And people will not meet your expectations. I can pretty much guarantee that those things will happen in the laboratory. When they happen, what will you do? I hope that you will ask, what would love do? We go back to that very first point. Love is the answer and the solution. Now we know that some people may leave the laboratory, so we bless them on their journey without judgment. And a lot of people will stay, and they will be the ones that shape the future of ULV. From the work that we've been doing, here are some guideposts about what I think love would do for those who stay. First, love would take a breath and return to source. Our humanity can be a pretty heavy mantle at times. An ego mind will be pretty loud under stress. Breathe. It's in that quiet stillness of oneness that we are able to hear the still small voice. Take time to go within and listen. Number 2, love would insist on agreeing and disagreeing in love. As you begin the process of grieving and begin to adjust to changes, right now, get out the document, Agreeing to Disagree in Love, and review it. It's on the website. This is how we have already agreed to navigate in the laboratory together. Remind yourself now about what this looks like before something blows up in the laboratory and you've broken all the rules. Number 3, love would insist on healthy boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's necessary to hold one another accountable with a gentle nudge and kind reminder. Number 4, love forgives and begins anew. Not 7 times, but 7 times 70, as often as it takes. Love forgives yourself and forgives others. There you have it. 11 years of saying the same basic 5 things over and over. And yet I'm still learning. I'm still living the sermon every single week. I'm still a work in progress. I am very grateful for the opportunity to spend 11 Christmases and 12 Easters with you. Grateful for the highs and the lows and the level ground. Grateful for the lessons we've learned and the times we've picked one another up. We have celebrated new lives and new beginnings with births and marriages. And we have celebrated lives beginning a journey on a new plane of existence. I have been loved and supported through a major health challenge. I have been supported in work in the unity movement, and I have tried to share those connections with you all. I've tried to give my best at all times and make a difference not only in our community, but in the greater Lehigh Valley community. As you grieve, know that I grieve too. As you struggle, know that I struggle too. As you begin again, know that I am beginning again. Most of all, know that we are all one in divine love. And now I have the honor of sharing a song that John Thomas wrote for this occasion. The video will be posted on Facebook after our service.
Good morning. My name is John Thomas. I recorded this song for Unity of Lehigh Valley's May 31st, 2020 Sunday service. I began writing this song the day Reverend Joy announced her plans for retirement. In fact, the chorus line, "Will I see you," came to me within minutes of the announcement. I hope this song captures some of the fun and serious sermons Reverend Joy shared with us. I'm going to miss her, and I have mixed feelings. Sorrow for the end of a chapter in my and Ewa Lee's life, and happiness and gratitude for the wisdom she imparted. Thank you, Reverend Joy. I hope you enjoy this song. See you. Goodbye for now, take care, be well. It's been a ride and time will tell how words you spoke touched many lives, and how your light shone far and wide. Goodbye, my friend, it may be a while. Our paths may run for many miles, cross endless plains and mountain streams, to the land where we feel to be. The Missouri calls you back again, the land where family tracks began, and through the years we won't forget the wisdom that you shared and left. Will I see you? Yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. Will I see you? Yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. I'm grateful that our paths have crossed. I'm grateful for the thoughts you tossed into my life and heart they blend. I thank you now, my friend. Oh, Guida's mitre-hatted shell, her message is remembered well. Gender and race equality, she raised awareness consciously. Oh, will I see you? Yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. Oh, will I see you? Oh, yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. Fond memories of us spent in the power of faith and love and strength. Elimination, love and zeal, imagination revealed. What if the Chiefs were second place? What if your kids loved Philly cheesesteaks? Would you just stay one more spring? But the lips are not what is. Oh, will I see you? a ride and time will tell how words you spoke touched many lives, and how your light shone far and wide. Family ties and bonds with me, calling you ever back to me. In Kansas City, home for free, where you can start again. Oh, will I see you? Yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. Oh, will I see you? Yes, yes, I'll see you. Oh, in my heart I'll see you again. Oh, will I see you? Yes, I'll see you. In my heart I'll see you again. Thank you, Reverend Joy. Really appreciate all you've given to us. Namaste.
So, thank you, John, for that wonderful song and for your willingness to share and put the energy into creating that for not only me, but for our spiritual community. Now is the time when we bless our offerings, and we continue to be grateful for the support, the ongoing gifts that support this ministry, that enable us to pay our bills, pay our staff, and maintain the work of ULV, whether it's online, in classes, in Zoom. We are committed to co-creating an awakened world of peace, harmony, and abundance. And so we bless our gifts as we affirm together, Divine Spirit through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We are down to our sixth core value, joy. Living from our oneness with Spirit, we give radiant expression to a lightness of being. I know that with some of the things going on, it may feel difficult to give expression to a lightness of being. And yet, it bubbles up from within, knowing that we are spirit, knowing that we are the ones bearing the light into the darkness, bearing the light into the world, making a difference. So I have just a few announcements. Our new service time beginning next week will be 10 a.m. I've been starting at 10:20, so if you need some extra time, you might want to set your alarm for 9:45, and that way you'll be prepared at 10 a.m. Reverend Rachel Sue Ritz will be leading the services right here on Facebook Live. We have some healing prayers for Cindy Gunn and her mother, and for Rob Seeger, and also prayers of comfort for Rob and Joe as their fur baby Max went to the Rainbow Bridge. I know that's always difficult. Also difficult, on Monday at noon, I invite you to pause for a moment to honor the more than 100,000 lives lost in the pandemic, including the life of Roger Parkhurst, the beloved brother of Dale Parkhurst. And we send our prayers of comfort to all of those whose lives have been forever changed by this pandemic. On Tuesday, I will be leading the Silent Unity service on the Unity headquarters website. So I just keep busy. So we are down to our final closing together. And we're just going to stick with what we know. I invite you to join me in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And all is swell. May peace prevail in the hearts and minds of all beings. Please know that you are forever, each and every one, in my heart.